Hello and welcome back to Granted Gardens. The last week or so I've been feeling a little under the weather, had a pretty bad cold come through, so today is really like my first day that I've been feeling like doing anything that did not require a pillow and a blanket and hot tea. So I'm out, I'm losing my voice a little bit still, so bear with me. But I wanted to come out into the garden today, number one, because I haven't been out here all week, and number two, because the weather is changing and it's getting to be time where some of the herbs are going to start dying back because the nights are getting a lot colder. So right now I'm in the herb garden and I had an idea for harvesting herbs, and then I had a new way this year that I'm gonna try to save some of the herbs. Hi Mikas. Hi. So I came across a new idea of freezing herbs. That's one thing I've never done before. Usually I just dry them. She must have found something back there. Usually I just dry them and then crush them up and save them dry. But I came across this new idea for freezing them, and it looks to be really easy and pretty quick turnaround. So we'll get into that a little bit later. For now, we're gonna start just by harvesting. So some of the herbs that work best for freezing are gonna be your more hardy herbs. Things like rosemary or thyme, excuse me, would be the best. So they're a little bit more hardy for you. Sage was another one that was listed. They don't wilt quite as quickly or give way to harsher conditions, so they'll freeze better. Now stuff like basil, for example, is not as hardy, and so it won't do as well frozen. But we can get into that more once we get into the house. So for now, we're just gonna start out by picking some of our herbs. Let's check it out. All right, so here we have some sage. So I'm gonna just go through this. I can pretty much pick by hand and just take off some of my larger leaves of sage. You can go through and pick as much as you want, as much as you have room for. So this is more of our cooking sage. So this will be the stuff that I will try and freeze. Next we have some oregano. It's going to seed, obviously, but some of these stalks here I can use. I'm going to go ahead and pick some of them. Oregano is also considered a more durable, a hardier plant. All right, and we'll go over to the thyme. Oh, that one I pulled up quite a bit. Perfect. Well, we'll take all that. Any of this that I won't use to freeze, I can just hang and dry. And then last but not least, the rosemary. Now this I'm going to need scissors for sure. When you're cutting the rosemary, you want to look for the newer growth to cut. So for example here, as you get down further into the rosemary, you'll see how the stem here starts to change color and it turns brown and woody. You do not want to cut into the woody pieces. You only want to cut into where it is green. Once you start cutting into where it's woody, you're going to start damaging the plant. Any of the new growth like this is fine to cut off. So I'm going to cut down like here, you can see. I'm just going to take the first few inches, and then cut. So you can see here how I did not cut into any of the woody parts. Down here is still very green and fresh. Got a nice handful here. Alright, so now I've got my basket with the herbs in it that I'm going to use to freeze, and we can head into the kitchen and I'll show you how I'm going to go about freezing them. Alright, so now that we're in the kitchen, I'm going to show you what I'm planning on doing to freeze these herbs. So in order to freeze, you're going to need a couple things. First one is an ice cube tray. So I have this little one here. I think you can pretty much get these anywhere. This one I think I got from the dollar store. So I've got an ice cube tray here, and then you need your oil, which is above you. Give me one second. And then you need your oil. So this is just a standard, I think, vegetable oil that we get at our local grocery store. Now, what you need to do is you want to wash, rinse, and then pat dry all of your herbs. So we're going to rinse them out now. Alright, so I've rinsed my herbs and now I'm just laying them out on a clean towel. They don't need to be totally dry, but you just want them to be decently separated. Now the next step is you want to take your herbs, especially the larger ones, and we're going to chop them up into fine pieces so that we can fit them in our ice cube tray. So we'll start out with the sage. So here you can see I chopped up our sage. I've got 3 leaves here into very fine pieces. They don't necessarily have to be a specific size. You can do as many as you'd like, but I've got them into pretty small little diced pieces. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start to fill our tray. Now each ice cube section, you want about anywhere from 2 to 3 parts of your herbs, and then 1 part oil. So see how far these few leaves get us. So I think that the 3 sage leaves that we had will get us about 2 of the ice cubes. So I'm going to keep chopping. Now I'm choosing to keep all of my herbs separated as I fill up the ice cube tray because this is really one of my first times trying this, so I want to keep them organized. But you are more than welcome to combine some of your herbs as well. And then that way, when you do pull them out, they can be pre-mixed for you instead of having to pick through certain ones. So if you know combinations that you like, you're welcome to combine them inside of your ice cube trays as well. Now for some of the smaller leaved things like the oregano and the thyme, I'm not chopping this. I'm literally just running my fingers across it and just collecting the leaves like that. This size is a perfect size for you to go ahead and put inside of some of these ice trays. No need to chop up anything that's small. The rosemary though, for the sake of fitting it in the ice cube tray, I think I am going to chop up the rosemary leaves. So as you can see here, I'm just taking the rosemary, pulling it off of the stem here, and then just chopping it very sporadically. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just enough to be able to fit well inside of your ice cube tray. Now, the ice cube tray that I have here, to me, looks very small. Like these are tiny ice cubes too. So you can also get a larger ice cube tray that'll have larger ice cube places. But this seems to work pretty well for what we're doing. You don't need too much. So I'm going to keep going with this rosemary. I'm going to fill in the rest with thyme, and then I'll show you the finished chopping once I'm done. Okay, so once you have had the opportunity to fill up your ice cube tray, we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill it with our oil now. So like I said, each little section of ice cube, we want to have anywhere from 2 to 3 parts your herbs and then 1 part oil. So I'll show you how I fill it up. Then you have your completed project. So here what I've got sage in these first 4, oregano in these 3, thyme all through here, and then the top left 2, and then rosemary here at the top. So once you have them filled up with your oils, you can go ahead and set it in the freezer. It should only take about 24 hours, maybe even less than that for it to freeze. Once it's done freezing, you can take it out. If you wanted to keep your herbs separated, you can go ahead and put them in little Ziploc freezer bags and then mark the front of them whichever herb it was. Then whenever you're ready to use them, so when you're cooking or doing soups, you can go ahead and just take 1 or 2 cubes out. You've already got your oil. Your oil will be infused with the herb, and so you'll have fresh herb in all of your cooking. Stop. And all of your cooking all throughout the winter. So I hope that you guys enjoy this. If you try it, let me know. I want to know how it goes for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon.